What is going on, everybody? Fresh off of Home Gym Con 2024. If you don't know what it is, it's essentially what it sounds like. It is a convention featuring all the big players in the home gym and garage gym space, like Rep, Rogue Fitness. You saw Titan Fitness there. Get to see some new brands, new prototypes. You get a chance to jump on equipment, try stuff that you've seen kind of on the website and pictures and visuals and reviews, and really getting a better idea of the handle of things. And I'll touch on that. There's a lot of things that really stood out to me that I've seen before, that when I got it tangibly got a chance to kind of mess around with them, had different thoughts about it. So I'll share with you guys my overall thought about the conference, how I thought about just the way it was structured and organized, and what were some of the top brands or just top products, at least to me, that kind of stood out. Also understanding the fact I think I'm in a different space. Believe it or not, I didn't know too much about this conference until one of you guys, a viewer, Frank Zen, who we got a chance to see at the conference. Awesome guy, longtime supporter of the channel. Great to see him and other people there, especially even affiliates. So I think I'm kind of a different demographic, because even I was in this space and I cover, of course, home gym, garage gym related equipment, I always feel like I'm kind of separated from the traditional people in that community, because I'm not as crazy about the gigantic equipment nor specialized components of equipment. I like things as more functional, versatile, and definitely fun equipment. And that certainly was definitely there. My point in saying, though, that I didn't know a whole lot about it. I'm sure a lot of you guys did know a lot about this conference. Maybe some of you guys are asking, hey, why didn't you tell us you were going? And that's because it really was a last minute decision. Went there for a variety of reasons, maybe I'll get into in future videos, but very much was a last minute decision about even attending. This is put on by a guy named Jake, who runs Garage Gym Experiment, and there are some other definitely people, I can see players that for sure helped this out, but pretty much I think this is his baby. This is his second year running it. Definitely a feat in itself, the way it was organized and put together. Definitely applaud him for doing all that. Very well organized, very well structured. And he gave me a lot of all access pass, got a chance to go behind the scenes and just seeing them kind of unloading and loading up equipment, setting up. That in itself was very impressive, especially when you're seeing the scope on some of these booths that were set up, especially people like Titan, Rogue, Rep Fitness, ATX. They had a gigantic setup. You see a whole crew setting up essentially a pop-up gym. And you guys know and you can appreciate how long it takes to set up one piece of equipment, let alone like 8+ pieces, and then break it down and then ship it out again. So very cool opportunity that these brands came out and brought so much equipment. So before I get into like specific booths or equipment or brands that really stood out to me at this conference, I'll say that as a whole, I think the thing was very well run, very well organized. Granted, I was not there for a really long period of time. Definitely, I could see where this was a near more major airport. You'd have more people coming there. I would say that was the biggest thing I noticed, is not a whole lot of attendance. I really didn't wait at all to get to a booth. That's probably a good thing, though. If you were there, you got a chance to really get as much information as you wanted, possibly. You got a chance to meet the owners. A lot of the inventors of a lot of the major products were actually there. That was definitely really cool. I will say it was kind of weird being there, because even though the equipment was there and you knew you could kind of jump on it and play with it, it just seemed kind of like a display floor that I always was kind of like asking permission, like, can I use this? Can I pick it up and play with it? And I know it's stupid, but it really felt like I wasn't supposed to be doing stuff. Even when I was kind of setting up, everyone was like, yeah, do whatever you want, jump on stuff, mess with it. It definitely was the environment, but it kind of takes some getting used to. And especially there wasn't so many people doing that, you kind of felt like an odd man out, because I didn't see a whole lot of people just jumping on equipment. A lot of people were kind of walking, casually touching stuff. I think because of that same nature, it was just kind of like you didn't really know, what you could and couldn't do with certain equipment. Then getting into the brands and just products that I saw, and I'm going there from two sides of it, one from like the content creator side, and also as connections or reasons I was there, but also from just the consumer side, like what is stuff that I'm really excited on seeing. And some stuff did surprise me. I'll be honest, the first time I kind of walked around it a few times, nothing was really, to me, really popping out at me. And I think that says a lot for the nature of the conference, that once you get closer and get to talk to the people, get to try this stuff, there's things that really surprise you, like, wow, okay, this is actually really cool. I didn't know this feature was there. For instance, there's a lot of racks, and after a while you see kind of, it's almost like just a lot of overload in the senses of, you just start seeing metal from like Titan, Rogue, Rep, and these different functional trainers that for sure are unique and have their own pros and cons, but it all starts to kind of blend the same. But when you get really closer, you really start to appreciate the kind of the fine details, and you get to find out things like in the, that company Built, I believe, Built Bridge, when they were called. They're squat racks, you pull up the center and they collapse. That's something was really cool feature. I know they've been covered before, but I didn't really know too much about them initially. But that was a company I kind of glazed over a couple times until like the third or fourth pass. I got a chance to really talk to them and see, what set them apart, not to mention the other attachments that they have. And then in that category of like big pieces of iron, like big functional trainers or squat racks, there were a couple companies that really surprised me that just seemed like heavy duty, almost beyond commercial grade stuff I would see in the gym, that I was just surprised at the cost. It was only like $3,000. I think there's shipping still on top of it. But when I got a chance to tangibly look closely at it, that was the biggest thing, is that there's a lot of cool, really versatile functional trainer type machines that were pretty affordable in the grand scheme of things, were comparable to things that were maybe $1,000 cheaper, but definitely seemed like home gym quality, versus these were big, massive chunks of metal that were not much more expensive than those. So I'm thinking a company like Bolt or this company Vesta, those two companies in particular kind of are popping out to me. Then when you get to the big players like Rogue, Titan, Rep Fitness, I'll be honest, the Rogue stuff, just because you see it so much, that wasn't as attractive to me. It was kind of, I wanted to see maybe something else that was kind of like new and unique, and maybe I missed something. I think that would attract kind of the more, quality type of consumer, getting a chance to get in there and touch it. But as big as that booth was, that was the booth, to me at least, I'm a different animal here, wasn't as attractive to me. Titan Fitness as well, really impressive setup, but wasn't really pulling me in as much, because I feel like I've just seen it so much visually that I didn't necessarily want to jump on it and try it as much. Rep Fitness seemed really cool. They're like I think they probably had seemed like the most prime location. Right when you walk in, you see it. And then right to your right as I shift, you get to see the infamous, I would say now infamous, this collaboration between the Peppin and Rep Fitness dumbbells, the Peppin Dumbbells that everyone's covering. And that was probably one of the coolest things. I'm being able to see that dumbbell up close, which I didn't know this, and you guys probably, maybe you guys could assume this. This is a prototype for a pre-order that's not coming out till September. There's only one pair of these, that's what the guy told me, in existence. So all those things you're seeing in the promotional videos, like the garage review, that's the first time I saw it. That was the same dumbbell set. So it almost felt like you were touching this traveling artifact that you almost want to think, you'd think they would keep up behind, like a glass, wall or something. But no, you got to get up there and touch it and play with it, do whatever you wanted to it. And that was one of the first things. I just wanted to gravitate towards it. Messed with it a few times, was very impressed with that. Granted, it was a prototype. I noticed that when you put the adjustable dumbbells, it likes to kind of scratch your knuckle a little bit, but that's supposed to be kind of shortened. Was very impressed with it. That was probably one of the coolest things I thought, maybe because of just the publicity behind it, but really excited for that. And of course, there's a couple there that was telling me about, the garage review video, which I didn't see, about how he repped 120, the max loads. I'm like, okay, well, I got to try that. And I haven't repped beyond 80-pound dumbbells for a while. So a little uneven at first, but that was fun, just kind of repping 120s with the rep-ins, I guess they're called. So that was definitely a standout product, one I'm definitely excited to kind of see in the future, no question. But as far as the big brands, that's kind of where it stopped. And after that, I was looking into, some more of the novel stuff. Was there something kind of unique? One company that jumped out at me that I've seen before were those Banff hammers. And I saw it a couple times, and I went up to the guy and started talking to him. Great guy. Got a chance to pick him up. As soon as I had him in my hand and just visually saw him, they looked like this is going to be too heavy to pick up. And I think the max was maybe 30 kilos, something like that. But massive hammers, once I picked it up, for me personally, you guys know I like fun, versatile stuff. It immediately clicked in my brain, like this is something that I would have a lot of fun with, especially going outdoors. So it's made out of recycled tires. So you can slam this thing on pavement. It's essentially indestructible, grass, whatever you want. And this is something I'm probably going to pull the trigger, either review, purchase in the near future. Had a lot of fun with that thing. But that's probably not going to be for everybody. That's definitely one of the something in my personal kind of wheelhouse. Got a chance to meet a lot of new affiliates and also old affiliates, particularly Force USA. Got a chance to talk to the owner, Ryan. Awesome people there, great individuals. Talked to them for a long period of time. They got some really, really exciting products. I won't say anything much about that coming out. So we were talking a long time about that. So Force USA, can't see enough about those guys. Solid guys. Everyone there is super nice. I would say a little more low key. It was a little more, not as much energy, I would say, in the room, but that could have just been the crowd wasn't as big. It wasn't a convention where people were like grabbing you in, wanting to get your attention. It was very kind of low key, I felt, as a whole, from just the people kind of walking around, I'd say as well. That swing sesh setup was really cool. Seeing those guys, I would say those guys stood out to me right away. Super nice people. The husband and wife who own that company, super great people. If you're looking for like a swing set / gym, Honestly, I might be thinking about that for my backyard. My kids are still young, so that would be kind of a dual function. But that was a really cool thing. Swing Sesh, check them out. And then one brand that stood out a lot to me, their logo just kind of kept drawing me in. But I'll be honest, when I walked by their booth, even at setup and post setup, I don't know what was going on there. It looked like a torture chamber. I'm wearing their shirt right here. I did buy, actually a few things I did buy. I bought this shirt and a bunch of the strength equipment, this Armed Assassins company. So the owner, Lucas or Luke, great guy, built guy. You can see his forearms, you can see his hands, and that's, I think he even talked about that, kind of really developed over time. Legit arm wrestling champion, great guy, also grip champion. You guys probably notice if you're in that grip or arm wrestling game, he's a well-known person, and he really kind of sold me just seeing his whole armory literally of stuff that he hand makes, and that was really cool. So I asked him what's the most practical bang for your buck thing, so I picked up this little contraption here. He showed me how to work it, and as I started doing, I'm like, wow, this thing definitely is intense. So that was probably something that stood out to me right away that I just purchased and supported him. So that's pretty much it. They had other events going on that I didn't get a whole lot of coverage with, of deadlifting, arm wrestling competitions. There was stuff kind of going on at nighttime and other individuals talking. I see this thing kind of growing for sure in the future. I think this type of conference, I wish there was a little bit more stuff that we're talking about, maybe the lower footprint, kind of more, I don't want to say more versatile stuff, but just stuff that wasn't just racks, heavy metal type stuff. Not that I don't love that, but I think you get this kind of divide of different types of camps. I think I even did talk to Jake, the organizer, about that wasn't as much the demographic. So I totally understand that. Maybe even a niche demographic, but it would have been nice to see some other smaller stuff. Not that there wasn't variety, but it just seemed like when you got in there, you just kind of saw, like I said, kind of a bunch of cascade of iron and bigger types of machines, which is valuable to say the least, because these are things that are really expensive. So if you are a consumer trying to think, do I want to invest in this? I don't know what it feels like, what it's going to feel like to me personally. That's when you get a chance to actually do that. So definitely a very well organized, needed convention. I think you kind of have to have something like this as this community grows. Regardless what the turnout was this year, I think all these brands and companies are going to want to keep coming back and supporting this as years kind of come along. So my hope is you guys, if you're interested in picking up something big, want to support the convention, if you're really into this kind of environment, I think you guys would have a good time. Word in the street is next year, I think they might be having it closer to, say, a closer airport, metro area for people to kind of fly in and fly out. So, but summarizing, the highlights for me personally was definitely seeing those Peppin Dumbbells. Those were very cool, legitimately just look awesome. These Armed Assassins guys, very cool, seeing people like that. Of course, connecting with Force USA and getting to know new affiliates is great, and definitely hands-on equipment. That's kind of my summary thoughts. So guys, any questions, comments, feedback, let me know, and I'll see you on the next video.